Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Natalie, and today I just have a quick download for you. I just got back from working out, and I wanted to stop in and share this download with you about failing and failure. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it today. Yes, let's talk about it. So, this is just a quick download for you. There's a difference, right? And I was working out today, and they asked me, "What are you afraid of? What are you most afraid of?" Some people said they were afraid of heights. Some people said they were afraid of not being their best, and then one person said they're afraid of failure. And the coach said, "There's no." She goes, but there's a difference between failing and failure." And I was like, do tell, do tell, do tell. What is the difference? Well, the difference is we will do things and we will fail at things. And my answer was, by the way, that I was afraid of not reaching my goal, which is kind of the same thing as failure, right? Like if you don't reach your goals in life. And so failing, we fail all the time. We fail all the time. Einstein failed until he figured out E equals MC squared. Benjamin Franklin failed. Oh, Benjamin Franklin, whoever created the light bulb. I can't remember right now. Einstein failed. All these people failed until until they reach what they want. Whoever created the light bulb. Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank on that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whoever created the light bulb, they failed until they finally created the light bulb. And you know what's beautiful about failing at the goal that you're trying to reach is that you pick up little nuggets along the way. So those failures lead you, those failings lead you to your goal. Failure is a lot different. Failure is when you're not even trying. You're not even you don't even have a goal. That's a failure. If you don't have a goal, that's a failure. And another thing I said was that I was afraid of not knowing when to pivot, right? Because sometimes we have a goal, right? And we're failing. We're failing miserably at reaching our goal, right? And so we don't know when to pivot. And we keep trying to do the same thing. We create madness by doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. So knowing when to pivot and make a change or tweak something so that you can reach your goal is crucial, right? But when you pivot, right, you feel like sometimes we say, we feel like we're a failure because we did that thing and we didn't reach our goal. You're not a failure until you stop reaching for your goal, because where there's a will, there's a way. There's a way to reach that goal. And we need to understand that it's not going to be the same for everybody. How you're going to reach your goal is not how I'm going to reach my goals. The steps, some of the things, they say that success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. So you might follow someone else's plan of what they did to get successful at a certain thing that maybe you're trying to reach that same type of goal, but you can follow their plan, but at some points you're gonna have to tweak some things to make it fit for you, because your life is not their life. So, I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit, because, as we ladies are out here, stepping into our authenticity, maybe finding out that we're trying to get back to some of the things that we used to love to do that we stopped doing because we were taking care of other people, you're just trying to be authentically yourself. Maybe you're removing things from your life that aren't no longer serve you, right? They served you at one time, they don't serve you anymore. Or you're finding that you have relationships in your life that are no longer serving you, that are no longer that you got to pivot from those relationships because maybe people are not growing at the same rate as you. And this has nothing to do with looking down on anyone, but if you're trying to reach a goal, you got to get around people who are trying to reach the same goals as you. You cannot stay around people who don't want what you want, because you are the sum of the five closest people that you hang around with. And so those people who don't want what you want at all, how are they going to give you tips? How they going to help you? You have to look for those people. And sometimes, those people, we think like, how are we going to find those people to help us reach our goal? Where are we going to find them out? It's amazing when you clear out space in your life where you find people. You may start, you may go for a workout and you talk to somebody, because when you might share with someone, hey, this is the goal I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to open up a business, such and such type of business. I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create a YouTube channel. And they might tell you like, oh my gosh, I have a YouTube channel. Or I have a friend that has a YouTube channel that can help you out. I just had a girlfriend that called me and said that she was, she does crafts, and she's pretty awesome at it. And she talked to someone, her husband talked to someone who does crafts, and he got to talking to her and said, hey, my wife does such and such thing and she's trying to open up a business. And she was like, yep, send her over. So we think that networking is just about us doing the networking, but it's not. It's about talking to people, the right people, about what you do, right? Because it doesn't behoove you. I mean, you just never know. You just never know, so you have to be putting yourself out there. And, even going out to work out. This is my second week back to doing like full, weightlifting and, HIIT workouts. And it's a little rough. Let me tell you, my body was sore last week. So I did 3 days last week, and I had to take a break. So I could consider, my goal was to go every day, right? But my body said I needed a break. So I could think to myself, well, you know what? Because I didn't reach that goal, I'm a failure. But what if my body needed a rest so it can replenish, so it could heal, so that I could do more this week? So we have to, the other thing is reframing the way we look at things, right? The way we think of failure, the way we think of failing. And, for every failure, you learn something, like I've tried different diets, but I've learned for each diet, whether it was keto or, fasting, I learned something. And I took a little piece of that to figure out what works for me. And like I said, it's going to be different for everyone because we all have different lifestyles. You know what? I may be fine with fasting from the time I get up in the morning at 4 to noon or 1. For somebody else, that may not work. So they're going to have to tweak a little bit and see what works for them. Maybe they stop eating a little bit later. Maybe they just say, hey, well, you know what? I'm going to do 24-hour fasts. Whatever, because there are different ways of doing it. And then the other part of this equation is, I think, prepping yourself. Prepping, right? Warm-ups. It's like going to work out. And, you go in and you're gung-ho, I'm going to work out, right? And you didn't warm up. And then you went in the first day and injured yourself. And now you can't work out for the next 3 weeks. So, anything that you're doing, anything, the mantra for today is don't be afraid to be a beginner, right? Forget what everybody thinks, what everybody says. You shouldn't be doing that. You're going to get a lot of that. But here's the thing. You're going to get a lot of that from people who aren't doing it at all. If you're talking to people who are haven't done what you're trying to do, and they are just popping in and they're giving you advice, you just have to say to yourself, they may have some sound advice for you, right? About resting, about, well, not even just that, about anything. They may have some sound advice. You just don't know. Like I heard someone else say, and excuse me, I can't remember everyone's name that I listened to because I listened to a lot of different people. And being here on YouTube, I listen to a lot of people. I go through and I see a lot of people. But what was I gonna say? That you can't what was I gonna say? Oh my gosh. Well, that thought left me. So we're gonna move on. It's like I could consider that a failure, but sometimes either I wasn't supposed to say it, or either it's something I wasn't supposed to say, or it's just not meant to be today. I'll come back another day and say it, but I could just quit, right? I could say, oh, I forgot that, lost my thought. I'm going to quit. Let's stop now. Let's finish up. But no, you have to keep going. This was not scripted or written. So I'm going to keep moving on with the thought that I had for the day, which is not being afraid to be a beginner. And we can sometimes feel like, oh, what's everybody going to think? What is everybody going to think? Who cares what anybody thinks, right? Who cares if somebody says that, they don't understand like why you're doing something. As long as you know why you're doing it, that's what counts. That's what counts. And there's nothing that says that you have to explain yourself to anyone about why you're doing anything. If you have a plan, if you know that this is what you feel is going to work for you, then you should go for it and just begin. Even if it looks sloppy. When I first started working out 3 years ago, talk about looking sloppy. And you know what? After not actually working out, lifting weights, that is, for the last year, I've been doing other things like treadmill and other things like that. But lifting weights, if you lift weights, you know that that's a whole other beast, right? I just told you, I spent the weekend just kind of recuperating. But you have to start somewhere, right? And then, today I felt better. So I was back at it, right? And I'll be sore again tomorrow because today I was working different muscles. And, as far as failure goes, you can't fail. You can only fail if you're not trying, right? And as long as you're trying and you're putting yourself in proximity to the people that are doing the things that you want to achieve in your life, then you know what? Most likely you're going to reach your goal. And, I believe in divine timing, but that's me. I do believe in divine timing, that when it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. And, I got that from I'll always thank her, my naturopath. When I was in her office and I was crying and I was like, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. And she was like, Natalie, you got some things to take care of. Remember, Ricky Ricardo, he used to say, Lucy, you got some splaining to do. Well, Natalie, you got some training to do. It just takes time. It takes time, and it's not overnight. I would love to say to people that even the progress that I've made has been an overnight progress. And your progress is, sometimes you're going to have like so much progress and people aren't going to see you for a while. And they're going to think, wow, well, they're going to feel like, wow, this happened overnight. No, you don't change and become a new person. You don't change and step into your authenticity overnight. It's a little bit at a time. It's training. You train yourself to do that because, we live lives here in society. And this is another conversation. That's why I'm here today, because these conversations I had, I was like, I need to come share this with you. I was sharing a conversation with someone and with my coach, and he said, I don't like society. Like they have like all these expectations. And, like I'm supposed to do things the way somebody else does things. People want to project themselves and their thoughts and their values onto you. You cannot project, I cannot project my values onto you. Now I can tell you, I can come here and I can tell you what I think all day long. And hopefully you're just going to take the bits and pieces of what I'm saying and you're going to run with it if it works for you. But stepping in your authenticity after having a lifetime of people projecting onto you their values, it takes a minute to figure out what you really value. And not just that, you may know what you value, but it takes a minute to stand in that truth and be like, yeah, I know that you don't value this, that this is not, I don't value the same thing that you value, but this is what I value, and I'm going to stand in my truth. And so that takes kahunas, right? Because there's something about doing that where that builds confidence, right? And building confidence takes time. And while you're building confidence, you're going to have people that are going to tell you you're failing, right? Because you're not doing what they said that you should do, or you're not doing it a certain way, and or that you don't have the same ideologies or the same values that they have, so they feel like you're failing in life. And that's their right. That's absolutely their right to think that you're failing in life. What we all need to do is, as you know, for all of everyone here on my channel anyway, I think, if you've experienced that, I imagine when you're stepping into your authenticity, you're gonna want people in your life who are authentically them. You're not gonna go into anyone's life and tell them that they need you'll never go to anyone and tell them that they need to do anything a certain way. I don't pretend to come here and I tell you what I do. I don't tell you like you need to do anything a certain way. I'll tell you what works for me, what's worked for me, and what hasn't worked for me, and what I think might help you. But it may or it may not. If it doesn't work for you, then just leave it and move on.